Guys, hi, it's Jamila here from Slack. Today I'm doing a very quick video on the new By Terry powder. The By Terry Hyaluronic Tinted Powder is supposed to be a Hydra Care setting powder, so I guess it's supposed to not really dry out your skin too much, not leave it looking too kind of powdered, and kind of give it more of a natural looking finish. It doesn't say much about it apart from that it's an extra smoothing, multi-zones correction, no pores, no lines, invisible matte finish. As you can tell, I'm very shiny, so I do need a matte finish. So this is the packaging. It's actually really pretty. It comes in their signature kind of purple and silver branding. So at the top you've got the kind of purple lid, and then you can kind of see how much product you've got there. I'm going to use the 150S brush from MAC, which I just bought and I actually love because it's just so soft and fluffy but packed, and it kind of makes application very light. When you shake it, you do get a lot of product up in the top, so I just kind of recommend putting it in your lid. So I'm just going to use a little bit. I'm going to do, maybe on this side I'll do a sponge, this side I'll do the brush. Even though I do tend to use just a brush these days. I want to see. I definitely would say that it is quite tinted. As you can see here, this side looks a lot kind of more, it looks slightly darker. This side still looks kind of the same. I'd say it also looks a little red as well on camera, but more kind of rich. It's not as red as, say, the Too Faced one, which was like red. Definitely has reduced the shine down a lot. As you can see here, it's a lot more kind of matte. This side is still very dewy. So for the other side, I'm going to use a sponge, which I haven't done in a while, but I do still use Laura Mercier with a sponge sometimes, so it'd be good to see what the difference is. And this does seem to have blended in a bit more now. It's kind of adapted a bit more to my colour. When I use a sponge and powder, I tend to dip in and then press on the back of my hand just to kind of get off any excess and so it doesn't look too cakey. I got that tip from the Makeup by Mario masterclass. I did find it helps with kind of minimizing like excess powder. When you first apply it, it does seem quite rich in colour. The good thing about this is it is a bit darker than me. I'd be interested to see how it looks on like say 6 shades darker than me, and hope that it doesn't kind of start to look ashy. And they did have a 500, which is more of a medium shade. I potentially could have tried that. I'm sure it would have been a bit more like that Pat McGrath one, which was very gold. And maybe that would have been a better undertone for me. But the first time I tried this, I didn't really notice the colour. So that is one side with the sponge. I think it looks better on the sponge side, even though it is a bit tinted. I think they're pretty much the same, to be honest, but I do feel like under the eye it's much better with the sponge, and perhaps I should just start doing that again because I do feel like it packs down the concealer better. So guys, I'm going to quickly set my face with the Max Fix Plus Matte setting spray. I had a bit of a spillage. I don't know when that happened. I don't know if it was before, during, after. Well, it definitely wasn't before. Maybe it was, I don't know. So I've kind of made a mess of everything. I have been using a mattifying setting spray with this because it is very kind of natural looking. It is quite dewy, which is great, but obviously I want it to last. I don't want it to move, and I don't want it to look like too shiny, especially if my natural oils can break through throughout the day. Oh, it's looking better. It's not bad at all. So guys, that is my finished look. I'm really happy with this powder. I think it's really nice. It's given my skin a really nice luminosity and a nice glow to it. I do think it might be a tad on the rich side, and I don't know if I should try the 500. I'm not sure if that's even a dull. Let's have a look. So I got the shade 600 Dark. When I was in the store, that definitely felt like the right one for me. I swatched the other one on my hand and it felt very light, but I just want to see what it looks like online. Okay, so online 500 is medium dark, so I think it's definitely worth trying that as well, and I think I will definitely get it to try because it does look slightly more golden toned, actually very much more golden toned. And then the dark is definitely a bit on the richer side, which is the one I've got on. So I definitely wouldn't say they're translucent, even though the lady in the store did say that. They don't actually advertise it as a translucent powder. They do advertise it as a tinted Hydra powder. It is on the pricey side, it's £42. So it's not as expensive as, say, like the Pat McGrath, which was 50, but it's not as cheap as the Laura Mercier, which is about 30 to 32 pounds, depending on where you get it from. I think at the moment, like Look Fantastic or someone like that is doing it for 20 pounds, which is extremely cheap. But I do think it's a really good powder. Obviously, I've used the MAC matte setting spray, and it literally is my most mattifying setting spray, and I've still got such a glow. My face looks like I haven't put any powder on, which is kind of perfect because I only use powder to kind of set my face and make sure it doesn't move. But with this, I feel like it's set, it feels very soft on the skin, it feels very lightweight, you don't really feel like you've put on powder. And I've actually put on quite a lot on this side in terms of applying it with a sponge. So I do think it's a really good powder. I think potentially I could have gone a shade lighter, and I don't think I'd be looking as rich and rosy as I am now, which isn't a bad thing, but I think now it's coming into winter, it's probably gonna be too dark for me. Definitely gonna try the number 500 in medium dark. After that, there's a 400 in medium. Then there's a 300 medium fair, 200 natural, 100 in fair, 2 apricot light. So I think these are more kind of, the apricot and rosy seems to be more like kind of correctors. And yeah, I just can't get over the shine of it. It looks very natural. So I think this would be really good for kind of mature skin, dry skin, especially in winter. I feel like I will be kind of reaching for this a lot more. In terms of size, this one is 10 grams, and the Pat McGrath one I had is 5 grams, and that's £50. I would say that the, let's focus on it. I would say that the Pat McGrath one is more pigmented, and I don't have to use as much. I use a lot less of that than this, but I do really like this. I do like the feel of it. It doesn't look as powdery as the Pat McGrath one does. The Pat McGrath one is really, really nice, and it's very kind of high-end, high finish, like perfect makeup finish. If you want something a bit more natural and everyday, I definitely would go for this over that. In comparison to the Laura Mercier, that is 29 grams, so it's almost 3 times the size of this, and it's £32, so it's about £10 cheaper. I do still think like you should have the Laura Mercier one in your kit for like every day. If you just want to set, you don't necessarily want to look as dewy or as like perfect as the Pat McGrath one, you want something in between. I do think that's really good. I think it might be better than the Hourglass one that I like, mainly because I feel like the colour works for me a bit better. But yeah, I think it's a really, really nice powder. I think it's given me a really nice finish. I'll give you guys a close up. It looks so chewy. And my skin does look quite poreless, I won't lie. It doesn't look like, it looks very smooth. You can't really see lines. It's settling into one smile line, but that's my worst one. And I think if I wear this out, hopefully it will still last by tonight. If I wear this out tonight, I think everyone will think I have like naturally amazing skin, which is never a bad thing. But that is my kind of quick tutorial on the new By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra tinted powder. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you found it helpful. I'm actually quite shiny. I might put a bit more powder on. Let's see. I'm just gonna use a bit with my yeah, that's better. It's just a bit shiny. So guys, that is my finished look. I hope you like it. I really like this powder. I think it's great. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. We would love to have you in the Slap family. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you on the next one.